Hey guys, it's me, it's Queen Asa Haru with another exciting edition of Ask An Aquarius. Okay guys, so this one is pretty difficult. Not really difficult in its application. It's just difficult because it's difficult to actually stick to it. That's all it is. So someone was asking me about reaching your goals. How did I do some of the goals that I've done, basically, is what they were asking me. How did I move out of the country? How did I get 2 degrees? Like, how did I do these things was their question. So, y'all know me. I'll answer any question, that I have an answer to. So, it doesn't have to be Aquarius based. So this one was a good one, and I think a lot of people have a lot of goals they want to reach. So I figured I would talk about it. So basically this is it, right? I did a lot of workshops as a young lady, like career workshops, all kinds of things about being motivated and how to reach your goals and things like that. I went to Youth Build USA. I went to Chester Youth Build, to be exact. I was there from the very first day, before they even had a building. I met with the director, and we had a very good relationship. So I was 17 years old at the time, and I had the opportunity to help with that program, not just go through it, but actually help her create it. It was a bunch of people that did it, and then go through the program, then graduate for the program, then work for the program. And I had a chance to go to different workshops, and between the ages of 17 and I would say like 29 or 30, I did work with the organization all the time. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful. And one of the things that I was taught was how to reach goals. And I've used this information. And since then, I've been a very, very big follower, I guess I could say, of Iyanla Van Zant. And she says a lot of deep stuff, man. I've been reading her books and following her stuff. I told you guys ever since I was maybe younger. No. I was older than 18. I was like 21 when I found her first book, the first one I read, that was Value in the Valley. And again, about goal setting, motivation, healing. So I've thought and heard and discussed and seen a lot of this. And this is the process that I go through. Now, some of you may be able to utilize it, and I hope you live your best life with it. This is what I do. Basically, I figure out what the end goal is. And each end goal has to be the lower rung than the next goal. So, for example, if the end goal is being a doctor, that's the end goal. That's a pretty big goal. It's a pretty huge goal. So if that's truly your goal, what you do is you scale down from that. So you want to be a doctor. What does that mean? What's the first step in that process? Go down, go to the first rung. So you create the last rung, and then you create the first rung. So you want to be a doctor, the first rung is going to college. And getting really high grades. That's the first rung. Once you've achieved that goal, and that's going to have sub goals to it as well. So it's go to college, get high grades, pass up through the 4-year program. Of course, you're going to have to be in some kind of a medical program, I'm assuming. I don't know how they do the programming with that, but basically get in the programming and pass the programming with straight A's, and then go to the next level, and then 8, 9, 10 years later, you're finally a doctor. You see? So I do the top one and I do the bottom one. And then I write it down. I write this out. So I write the bottom, I write the end game is what I call it. So whatever it is, being a doctor is the end game. What is the first step to getting to the end game? And I just write down all of the steps that lead up to it. And as I do them, I check them off. That's it. Basically, that's why I said it's not hard, the process, but you have to stick to it and painstakingly be on it. You have to believe it. You have to believe in yourself. I use the law of attraction all the time. And if you don't know what the law of attraction is, I strongly suggest that you watch The Secret by Rhonda Byrne or read the book, one of the two, because I use that all the time. I've manifested everything that I've wanted in my life with that. Like, seriously, for like the past, oh my God, I think I started using it like maybe, I might have got a hold of it maybe like 8 years ago or so, but I wasn't really good at it at first because at first my mind had too much clutter in it, listening to too many things, people telling me it didn't work, just too many things was going on in my head. And as I said to myself, one thing about when people tell me something won't work, I don't believe them. Because number one, a lot of times they didn't really give it a Hercules effort. They half-ass tried it, then tell you it don't work. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay. So I don't believe that. I go ahead and try it myself. If it's something that I feel like, yeah, I feel something with this, I go for it. So I believed that it could work. And I said, well, they said it didn't. Let me see if it works. So I started trying to work with it, and I started getting little small results. And I was like, oh, if I'm getting small results, I can get bigger results. So I just kept working it. And it got real easy in the past like 2 years. Sometimes I slip off because I fall into like doubting, then I come back up, like I might slip off for a couple of days and be like, whoa, you're not using your law of attraction. You need to come back, So sometimes your mind still does mess with you. But yeah. Watch The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Learn all about it. And after you've learned about it, use it. Do it. Do what they say to the letter. They say think positively, believe in yourself, go for it, pray on things, visualize the success. I mean, it's a great one. Another one is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That will also help you with setting goals and, going for it. So, like I said, that's how I do it. And it's not a hard process. The hard part is sticking to it because life happens. In the middle of you trying to get yourself together and live out your goals, life happens. But you have to keep getting back up. During me trying to get my degree, life happened. I had a daughter. So life happens every day when you have a child. Even when you don't. But when you have one, it's double. It was double life happening. Her life and mine. And I had to really focus on her and on working and on school, and it was not easy. But I stuck to it, and it finally paid off. And then every time, with me, my goals are always consecutive. So each goal leads to another one. So my end game always leads to another end game. So graduating from college for me led to me getting my master's degree, which led to me getting a job in the school district, which led to me being able to be independent now and, work for myself. Every end game, and this end game, being independent and working for myself, has another end game. So the end games keep getting higher. I just keep on climbing up the ladder. And that's how you do it. You start with the most basic, easiest goal to achieve, and you just go for it and let them gradually get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's how I did it. Some people only have one goal. Some people have one thing. They want to write a book or they want to travel the world. They have one thing. If you have one thing, it's the same thing. Put your end game down on the piece of paper. At the bottom of the paper, put the first step. And then write down every single step. And every day, work towards those steps in order. Bam, bam, bam. Knock them out. Go all the way up. So that's how I do it. That's how I do it. And when I started to use the law of attraction in that together, that's when it started happening faster. It didn't take me as long. My manifestations got quicker. Now when I focus on something long enough, it happens really fast. It doesn't take years anymore. It happens really quick. When I wanted to move to Costa Rica, I started using the law of attraction. I had like a 3 or 4 or 5 year. I was open to it being up to 5 years. I was gone in 2. I was gone in 2. I was gone a year sooner than I even expected. At least a year sooner than I expected. And whenever I need something, I use that law of attraction. Boom, 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 boom. It doesn't take long at all anymore. I was thinking about something the other day I really needed, and I got an email about 3 days later, and I was like, oh, there it is. So if you work it, they get faster and faster and faster. All right. And another thing I want to add to this is that a lot of times when you get in this particular mindset, you allow yourself to be held back by other people's problems. And I think that some people do this because they're actually afraid of the success that they're going for. They want it, they dream about it, but they're afraid of it. So they allow other people to hold them back. They allow other people's issues to get in the way. They don't try to find ways to get around it. The woman that wrote Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, I think is her name. Really like her, really like the Harry Potter series. And she was talking about how she was a teacher and she worked all day. And anybody who ever taught a class, it's exhausting to teach a class, especially kids. And she would teach a class all day and then come home and write Harry Potter into the wee hours of the night. Simultaneously doing both things because she really wanted this. She really saw this vision for herself. So sometimes it is exhausting. And like I said, if you really want it, you'll find a way. She found a way to make it happen. She was like, I'm going home and I'm writing on this. I got to make this paper every day, but I'm definitely going home to write this book. So that's what you have to do. You have to find time for your goals around everything else. You might need to do things for your mama. You got to do things for your husband. You got to do things for your kids. But you have to find time for yourself. You got to find time in every day to work on your goals. Okay? I always tell my clients, you deserve at least, I always recommend that people meditate and pray for 30 minutes a day. Meditate, pray, journal, some kind of spiritual practice, whatever you're into. I recommend that they do it 30 minutes a day. It can be at the beginning of the day, it can be at the end of the day, whenever they have time, basically, to stick it in. And people always tell me 30 minutes. I said, I got to do this, I got to do that. And I'm like, you mean to tell me in 24 hours you can't give yourself 30 minutes? Come on now. Come on. This is your life. So you mean to tell me you giving 24 hours a day to others? Bad mistake. You got to give yourself at least some of that time. And I recommend that some of it is for spirituality and some of it is to work towards your goals. You have to give yourself that time. And that's what I'm saying is that some people are afraid of the success and they just let other people's interests and things and problems, and they don't give themselves anything. They give it all away. You can't give it all away and be successful. It's never going to work. Those two things can't coexist, because to be successful, you have to work on your goals. And if you're giving away all your time, money, attention, energy, focus, then it's not going to happen. Okay? So that's really important. Then the other day, the last part of this is, the other day somebody said to me on Facebook, they had sent like a picture, and it said, for 6 months, focus solely on your goals and see what happens. So lately I've gotten kind of lazy because I've been in Central America and I've gotten kind of lazy with my goals. I've been working my behind off, but I haven't been working on my goals. I've been working. So I said to myself, okay, for 6 months, I'm going to focus on my goals at least a few minutes every single day. And I've already seen changes. I'm like, So for the rest of it's only been like 13 days. So I'm going to keep doing that. And I challenge you to do that for 6 months. Work solely, feverishly on your goals. When things come up, still make time for yourself, because it's really important. And every time I tell people this, they're like, well, my mom's sick, my baby got asthma. And I'm like, come on. I know that. I know you have things to do. I had things to do. If I had decided on that, I would have never done anything. I was 17 when I had my daughter. I was 18 when I got married. So if I was just like, well, I got to take care of the baby, my husband needs me, the house is a mess, if I had done those things, I wouldn't have gotten anywhere. We all have trials, we all have tribulations, we all have things go wrong. But you have to talk yourself into making yourself and your goals and your dreams a priority. Otherwise, just like that play, that movie, they dry up like a raisin in the sun. And that's a very true statement. That's exactly what happens to your goals and your dreams. You'll have I've seen people have great goals, great dreams, things that they could really accomplish, and do nothing with it. And I'm like, wow, you could have been rich. Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, they could have been rich with that idea, and they did nothing with it. Or we all know somebody in the hood with a great idea. We all know somebody who has the best athletic abilities but doesn't do anything with it. We all know somebody who braids phenomenal hair but refuses to open up a salon. We all know somebody who has some genius, is my point, some kind of talent, some kind of skill. I know a woman who is she's a bartender. And she's one of the best singers I've ever heard in the world, and does not do anything to pursue her talent, because basically she's too busy talking to dudes and drinking and hanging out, so she doesn't do anything with her talent. I'm like, girl, you can cut a record. I mean, she could make a mixtape of her songs and sell them out the back of her car. And I guarantee you, in about 5 or 6 years, everybody in the world will know who she is. I mean, she's that good, but she doesn't put the effort towards herself. So today, I challenge you to put the effort towards yourself, towards your goals. And if one of the things that's going on in your life, and I see this a lot with a lot of people, this holds them back. If one of the things that's going on in your life is mental health issues, emotional healing, you will hear me talk about this all the time because it's one of the destroyers of people's goals and dreams. If you have any kind of depressions, anxieties, anything along those lines that's holding you back, I beg you, I beg you to make that your first goal. Make your first goal healing thyself. Make your first goal working on coming out of that darkness. Make your mental health your first goal. Before you go to school, before you buy a car, before you write that book, I don't care what you want to do. Before you build a house with your bare hands, do that first. Because a lot of people I know who are brilliant, that is what held them back. My father graduated high school at 16 years old. My daddy was a genius. My father put together a Barbie doll house for my sister that we played with for forever. And it had electricity. You could turn the lights on in it. It had a little rooftop. My father built this Barbie doll house with plywood and old electronics that he found around the house, like old hair dryers and things like that. He was a genius. Me and my daughter are really swift, and my sister really swift, really smart because of my father. And he never did anything with it. He never did anything with it. He went to college for a little bit when he got older, but he never did anything with it because his mental health issues stopped him. I think he might have been bipolar. It could have just been regular old depression. I'm not sure, but he was Aquarius like me. And something was going on with him, and he did not address it. He didn't heal it. So it took over his life. Then he started self-medicating, because that's what happens next. You automatically start self-medicating, a lot of people, and then you have a habit. And that's what happened with him. He ended up with a habit, and that habit just took all his goals, all his dreams, and took them right down the drain. Okay, so if you have mental health issues of any kind, start there. Make that your first goal. And after you've done this, and some people tell me, oh, you can't heal mental health issues. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I am living proof that you can heal them. I never thought I'd feel this good. Never. Never in my life. When I was going through those suicidal moments, I never knew I could get here. I never knew this was even possible. And people kept saying, well, if you got mental health or if you're depressed or whatever the case is, that never goes away. That's a lie. That's a lie. It can be healed. It depends on what is causing it. If it's chemical, like I've said before in other videos, or if it's situational, or if it's trauma, or if it's emotional, but it can be healed. You just have to work on it to heal it. It's like anything else. It's like, if you break your arm, it can heal. If you have depression, you can heal it. If you have anxiety, you can heal it. You can. The people who tell you can't is because they either couldn't heal theirs because they didn't put a Hercules effort into it, or they're just talking out their behind. Bottom line, you can heal it. So like I said before, I always tell people the same process. It's always the same process with mental health. Identify what the problem is, treat it, and heal it. Boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3. You gotta go to a professional and identify it. Then start to treat it. And then it'll gradually start to heal itself as you're working on it. So if that's an issue for you, and I say this because it's an issue for so many people. I do readings every day. Well, not every day, most days. And I see so much depression, so many addictions, so many mental health issues, so much anxiety, so many panic attacks, so much agoraphobia. I see so much of it. Like it's not everybody. I'm not going to say everybody, but like 4 out of 5 have some type of something like that going on. It might be situational depression because of something that's going on. It's all kinds of reasons why, but I see it all day long. So it's a big issue in our societies. And I don't hear enough people talking about healing it. I don't hear enough people telling people how to heal it. And I think that's because a lot of people, either they don't know how, they haven't been able to heal their own. I don't know. But I rarely hear people saying, yeah, you can heal this. This is how you do it. I just hear people telling me that they're suffering from it. And then they tell somebody they're suffering and they're like, oh, you should go see a therapist. They give you some really basic information that is actually correct, but it doesn't take you deep enough into it. It doesn't take them deep enough to be able to really do it. And it's also difficult to get the motivation to work on it when you're in the middle of it. Okay, so in my case, that's why I got so heavily into spirituality, because that was my strength. That is how I motivated myself to dig myself out of that hole and start climbing and making goals and using the laws of attraction and being a priestess. That's how I did all that. I dug into that spirituality, and I used self-help books at first. I did go to a therapist for a year. But I also started with self-help books and then went to the therapist and then continued with priestess training, more self-help books, more workshops. Like I just continued and continued and continued. You have to seek a mentally healthy mind the same way you would seek oxygen. If somebody threw you into a room with no oxygen, you would tear the walls down trying to breathe. If you were thirsty, you would tear through a wall to get to some water. If somebody put you somewhere and you couldn't get the water, you would tear through a wall. That's how you have to attack taking care of your mental health issues. You got to really get serious about it and consistent on it. It doesn't work to just go to the therapist here and there and be kind of haphazard about it. You have to work on it consistently and seriously. And the more trauma you have, the harder and longer it may be. If you just had 1 or 2 situations, it depends on how bad they are. Sometimes 1 or 2 situations is enough, but depending on how bad it is. But either way, no matter how bad it is, from light to extreme, working on it is the only way to work through it. It's the only way to change it. It's the only way to heal it. You have to work on it diligently. And that's another piece that I don't see with a lot of people. I see a lot of people half-assing it. That's never going to work. Never, never, never. So that's this edition of Ask An Aquarius. Live your best life. It's possible. Go for it. Now it's time for me to go for it. I am going to Panama. I have a little itty bitty vacation for a couple days. So I'm gonna go lay by the pool in the humid Panama City, Panama. And I also have other videos to do, so I'll probably try to do some of them out there. Okay? See you guys later. Bye.